Discover the incredible truth. 3 hidden scenarios exposed that will change your life forever. Jenny poured coffee into a chipped mug, her hands shaking as she studied the faces around her. The smell of fried food clung to the air in the Maplewood diner, a warm blanket amidst the chill of struggle that loomed over the town. At 35, she was a waitress pouring more than just coffee. She poured dreams for her brilliant son, Ethan, who at 16, was a kaleidoscope of ambition and worry. She could feel her father's disapproval in the corners of the diner, whispering reminders of the divorce that left her estranged. Each sound, every clatter of dishes seemed to resonate with his contempt. Success comes from hard work, not shortcuts. Her relentless schedule unraveled into late-night school meetings, where she argued for a scholarship that could lift Ethan from the clutches of their poverty. Each word felt like a plea, an offer of hope amidst their sinking circumstances. Just as a glimmer of possibility sparked when her old family friend offered her a business proposal, fate took a dark twist. Her father stormed into the diner, his face a thundercloud. "This isn't how we do things," he hissed, dismissing her dream like an overheard rant. It rattled her to the core, reopening wounds she had hoped to heal. Then came the day that shattered her resolve. Ethan walked through the front door, tears carving paths down his cheeks. The jeers from classmates stung deeper than any job she could handle. "Mom, they said we're just the poor kids eating leftovers. What's the point of my music?" His heart ached with those words, and Jenny felt utterly powerless. How do you defend the dreams of a boy whose worth was measured by the balance of his mother's bank account? As she sat beside him, despair cloaked her like a heavy fog. Just when she thought it couldn't get worse, the annual community rally honoring veterans kicked off with all the familiar sounds of Maplewood laughter and music rippling like waves. But this year was different, electric. Everything shifted when Ethan took the stage, his hands trembling but determined. Then came the anthem that echoed the trials they both faced, a song birthed from pain, hope, and resilience. For the first time, the community listened. They leaned in, hearts swelling. Applause washed over them, igniting a fire of support she had never expected. But in the sea of cheers, she caught sight of her father's rigid frame, a man at odds with a new era. Doubt flickered in his eyes as he regarded Ethan not as a talent, but as an affront to family values. The applause felt intoxicating, yet Jenny trembled beneath the weight of 2 opposing legacies. Should she uphold her father's rigid ideals, or embrace the fluidity of her son's dreams? What was family loyalty in the midst of her child's burgeoning voice? Before we continue, I need to let you know about something important that's happening. YouTube has been making changes to the system, and many people are losing notifications from channels they follow. If you're enjoying the content, hit that bell and mark all notifications so you don't miss the next videos. And if you can drop a like, it really helps me with reach. Seriously, it makes a difference. Oh, let me know in the comments where you're watching from. I'm always curious to know who's on the other side of the screen. Now let's continue. Jenny stood on the precipice of a decision that could shift the course of both their lives. In the warmth of the community's embrace, she felt the chill of family expectations. Her heart raced as she realized that the choice made today could redefine not only her life but the very fabric of the town they called home. Would she step forward or retreat? All she knew was that the echo of Ethan's song would linger long after the final note, as a reminder that sometimes hope blooms in the face of deepest despair. As the applause faded into murmurs of excitement, Jenny felt the gravity of the moment pressing down on her shoulders. Ethan stood on stage, drenched in a light that felt almost divine. She could see it in his eyes, a glimmer of hope, a burning passion that whispered of possibility. But there was also the weight of her father's disapproval, heavy and suffocating, coiling around her heart like a serpent. After the performance, the diner buzzed with chatter. A small crowd gathered around Ethan, eager for more music, more of him. Jenny watched with mixed emotions. Was this the start of something beautiful or merely a flicker before darkness? Each congratulatory word felt like a tide turning in their direction. Yet the specter of her father's condemnation loomed larger. "Mom?" Ethan called, breaking through Jenny's spiraling thoughts. "Did you see? They're asking for encores. I did, baby. You were amazing. There was pride in her voice, but uncertainty killed the joy. She couldn't shake the feeling that making music could cost him, or worse, cost them both. People began crowding her, sharing tales of how Ethan's song touched their hearts. They spoke of talent shows, scholarship opportunities, and hopes that had long been buried. With each compliment, Jenny felt a flicker of warmth in her chest. Yet doubt lingered, gnawing at her as the diner began to empty. Ethan's smile was incandescent. Did you see Dad? I think he liked it. Jenny hesitated. He was there, Ethan, but what? You're not gonna let him ruin this, are you? His face fell, disbelief washing over it. I can't lose this chance, Mom. He needed her to believe, to stand firm against the currents pulling them apart. But could she? Reflection made her question everything she was raised to believe. Your grandfather, she started, choosing her words with care. He has his views, Ethan, just like I have mine now. It's complicated. I don't want to be his legacy, Mom, he replied, a defiance blooming behind his tears. I want to stand on my own. That was it. In that moment, Jenny realized how much she had been holding back. She wasn't just his mother. She was also the woman with dreams of her own, made silent by fear. If Ethan's music could touch the town, could it also heal their fractured family? Let us not give up, she finally said, her voice steadying. Let us take Mom's proposal seriously. We can figure this out together. Ethan's eyes widened, hope igniting again. Really? You think we could let us meet with her tomorrow? Jenny offered, her heart racing at the thought of stepping onto uncharted ground. Okay. He grinned, the weight of worry lifting slightly as they walked out of the diner together. She glanced at the stars above, feeling the universe's limitless potential. But deep inside, a persistent tremor remained. What if taking this leap only deepened their fall into the unknown? The next morning could bring opportunity, or it could welcome a storm. They were standing on the verge of something big, but could they face the chaos with the strength they built that night? At home, Jenny found a dusty box tucked away under the bed, filled with forgotten dreams. Inside lay a guitar, once vibrant, now faded. She struggled with whether to pick it up or let it remain buried. But in her heart, a silent question echoed. What if dreams could break free instead of remain confined? Would she find the courage to turn the page, or would yesterday's shadows drag them down once more? The morning light filtered through the kitchen window, glinting off the faded surface of the guitar, as Jenny sat in front of it. She ran her fingers across the strings, hesitant at first, as memories flooded back. Sounds of laughter and careless strumming filled her mind, times when music didn't feel like a weight, but a wonderful escape. She could almost hear her younger self singing along with the chords. Ethan entered the kitchen, his face beaming with anticipation. Are you ready for today? He asked, his voice laced with excitement. Jenny nodded, but a surge of anxiety gnawed at her. I think so. Just trying to gather my thoughts. Don't think too hard, he teased, a playful glint in his eye. Just go in there, be yourself, and remember, you've got this. She knew he was right. This wasn't just about her anymore. It was about demonstrating that they were a team redefining their own legacy, free from her father's looming shadow. But could she really push through the fear? After breakfast, they both stepped into the sunlight. The air felt alive with promise. Ethan pulled at his backpack, digging for his notebook filled with song lyrics. He jotted down ideas that flowed like a river, each line becoming a testament to his dreams. Jenny watched him, his spirit vibrant and contagious. Mom, I was thinking, he began, glancing at her. What if I write a song about our journey? About facing obstacles and not letting them break us? Tears pricked at the corners of Jenny's eyes. That's a beautiful idea, Ethan. It shows not just your passion for music but also our strength as a family. As they approached the coffee shop where her mother awaited them, the weight of expectancy settled over her. Would her mother understand the shift happening? Would she see the importance of supporting Ethan's passion? When they entered, her mother looked up from her corner booth, a warm smile blooming across her face. But Jenny caught the flicker of apprehension in her mother's eyes, a mirror of her own worries. "Hey, you two." Her mother gestured them over. "I can't wait to hear what you've got in mind." Ethan dove right into his excitement, sharing his idea about the song. While Jenny braced herself for potential criticism, she felt the magic of Ethan's passion illuminating the room. With each word he spoke, Jenny's resolve strengthened. This was about breaking boundaries, not reinforcing them. But just as the conversation began to flourish, the door swung open, and in walked her father. The room grew tense, shadows stretching across the table. His presence felt like an invisible weight, anchoring them in hesitation. Jenny's heart raced. Would he dismiss Ethan's dream with a wave of his hand? Ethan caught her eye, a spark of defiance igniting between them. They had come this far. Could they stand together against the storm brewing at their door? Her father's eyebrows furrowed as he approached them, eyes darting between the three of them. "What's happening here?" he asked, his tone scrutinizing. Gathering her courage, Jenny took a deep breath. "Dad, we want to talk about Ethan's music and his future." The words felt thick with tension, but determined passion surged through her. "What future?" he snapped, skepticism rippling through his voice. Ethan clenched his fists, ready to stand firm. This was the moment that could define them, but would it lead to understanding, or to an impasse that shattered their fragile hope? Jenny's heart raced as she realized they were at a crossroads, moments away from either acceptance or conflict. The air felt electric. What would happen next? Would they find common ground? Or would old wounds prevent them from moving forward? Jenny's breath caught, her heart hammering in her chest as she felt the storm brewing in the air. It was like standing on the edge of a precipice, the ground below crumbling, and all she could do was cling to hope. Her father's gaze hardened, eyes narrowing, searching for weakness in Ethan's enthusiasm. "Music? That's your future?" he scoffed, his voice dripping with disbelief. "Dad, it's not just a hobby," Ethan argued, his voice rising with passion. "This is who I am. I want to create something that matters, something that tells our story." Jenny felt a wave of pride swell in her chest as she watched Ethan. This was her son, bold and unyielding, not willing to be silenced. She shifted slightly, hoping to bridge the widening gap between them. "Maybe if you tried listening for once," she began. But her father cut her off, shaking his head. "Listen. What would I gain from listening to fantasies?" He laughed, but it was hollow, echoing through the coffee shop. The other customers glanced up, eyes curious. "Dad, music can change things. It's supposed to bring people together," Ethan pressed, his voice steady now, a hint of a tremor beneath. The challenge in his tone hung heavy. A slice of silence marked the moment, the trio frozen in the coffee-scented air, a seesaw of anticipation balancing between them. Jenny felt a fire ignite within her, fear mixed with resolve. "You don't understand what it's like for him, Dad." The words erupted before she could stop them. "For both of us, we're trying to create something beautiful, something that reflects our lives." He looked between them, a war brewing in his eyes, indecision flaring for a brief moment. "You think I don't care? This is about real life." "But it can be both," Ethan exclaimed, the raw tension sparking a fiercer energy around the table. "We can have dreams and a reality to live in. Why can't you support that?" Jenny exchanged a look with Ethan, something unspoken passing between them. They were fighting not just for music, but for a future, for a voice in a world that often tried to mute them. Her father shifted, crossing his arms, unwilling to succumb to the obvious truth in Ethan's words. "Music doesn't pay the bills," he huffed. "No, but it can pay in other ways," Ethan said fiercely. "Do you think all your hard work meant nothing? Can't we build something that honors your legacy while still being true to ourselves?" The question hung, saturated with desires both hidden, and revealed a glimmer of perspective that might melt the ice surrounding her father's heart. Jenny could see his resolve cracking, just a little. But when he opened his mouth to reply, the door swung open again, and a gust of wind swept through, bringing with it a new face. An unfamiliar man strolled in, his eyes scanning the room before landing on their table. "Excuse me," the man said, taking a step closer, oblivious to the charged drama unfolding. I couldn't help but overhear. Jenny's stomach tightened. Would this stranger add fuel to an already flickering fire? Or could he provide a much-needed distraction, an opportunity to step back from the brink? Do you believe in following your dreams? He asked, a bright smile on his face. His gaze lingering on Ethan as the man's words hung in the air. Jenny's heart raced with uncertainty. What new turns would unveil themselves? Would this be the moment to bridge their divide? Or would it lead them deeper into chaos? Ethan shifted in his seat, surprise mixing with intrigue. The stranger's easy demeanor cut through the tension like a warm blade, and for a moment, the arguments faded away. Jenny caught the flicker of hope in her son's eyes, a spark igniting a hope she had almost forgotten. Yes, Ethan replied, his voice a touch softer now. I believe in following dreams. Don't you? He leaned forward, his sincerity cutting through the discord. I do. The man responded, hands animated as he spoke. I'm Lucas, he introduced himself, taking a seat beside them without invitation. I was just passing by when I heard you. His enthusiasm felt contagious. My whole life has revolved around music, and let me tell you, if you chase what sets your soul on fire, the world tends to open its doors, sometimes in ways you never expect. Jenny noticed her father shifting uncomfortably. The man had stepped into a battle zone, yet his vibrant energy seemed to ease the creases on her dad's brow just a little. Not every door opens, mind you, Lucas continued, but the ones that do lead on the most incredible journeys. And there it was, the flicker of connection. Tell us more, Jenny encouraged, wanting to draw all of them into this new thread of possibility. Lucas leaned back in his chair, a smile spreading across his face. I started much like you, my friend. He pointed to Ethan. Barely getting by, juggling different jobs while I played gigs on the weekends. My parents didn't exactly buy into it either. They wanted me to be sensible, to take the safer route. But music, it's where I found my voice. It wasn't easy, not by a long shot. Jenny could sense her father's hardened disposition softening. Just a bit. She held onto that shifting energy, hoping to draw it out more. So what changed? She asked, eager for the revelation that might bridge their rift. I struggled, Lucas acknowledged. But I found ways to blend what my parents valued with my passion. I learned to pitch my music to businesses, got involved in sound design for commercials. My show was bigger than my dreams had originally been. In the process, I built a career that satisfied my soul and my bank account. You see, following dreams doesn't mean abandoning reality. It means reshaping your path. Ethan watched, captivated. It sounds like you tapped into something deeper. Lucas nodded. Exactly. And when I finally found the courage to share my music, people began to listen. I remember one time there was this little coffee shop, kind of like this one. I played, and at first it was just a handful of people. Then more came, drawn in by the sounds that echoed my life. They connected with what I had to offer. Jenny leaned in closer, the sound of Lucas' stories weaving a delicate fabric of hope. And now? She asked, voice barely more than a whisper. Now I'm part of a community, Lucas said, eyes sparkling. I help other aspiring musicians find their voice. We help each other and turn dreams into plans. It's all about support, like what you're doing for each other. He glanced pointedly at Jenny's father. Jenny's dad sat back, his expression complicated, a game of cards being played behind his eyes. The battle between defense and connection was raging, but somewhere in that stare, some dam was starting to break. Could he be swayed by this stranger's voice? Or was he beyond hope? Maybe her father started, the word trailing off. Maybe there's something to what you're saying. Ethan's breath caught at the sliver of openness in his grandfather's voice. What would they discover about their own dreams? Could the man before them truly change everything? But before anyone could respond, the door swung open once more, and another gust of autumn wind swept through the cafe, carrying with it an unexpected rush of potential. Hi! Is this where the music is? The voice had a melodic ring to it, and all heads turned toward the newcomer. Jenny's heart raced again, caught in the web of uncertainty. Who was this new arrival, and would they alter the course of their conversation further? The door creaked as a young woman stepped inside, her vibrant scarf swaying lightly in the chilly breeze. The cafe, small and cozy, felt instantly brighter. She scanned the room, excitement evident on her face. Her auburn hair framed a glowing smile, brimming with energy. "Is this where the music is?" she asked again, her voice a sweet melody that intertwined with the lingering notes of Lucas's stories. "Depends on what you mean by music," Lucas replied, his charm not wavering for a second. He gestured to an empty spot across from him and Ethan. "Join us. We're just talking about how following your passion can lead to unexpected paths." The woman slipped into the chair, glancing from one face to the other. "I'm Clara, by the way. I'm a singer-songwriter." She leaned a little closer, her eyes shimmering with enthusiasm. "I've been searching all day for coffee shops where I could share my songs. Looks like I found the right one." Ethan's heart raced at the realization that another like-minded soul had just walked in. "You sing?" he asked, almost breathless, the prospect of a shared dream pulling him in. "Yep," Clara responded, her voice bursting with joy. "It's my life, you know? I want to reach people through my music." She paused, her gaze turning serious. "But it's hard to get noticed. Sometimes I wonder if I'm just chasing shadows." Jenny could see her son's excitement mixed with empathy. "What made you start?" she prodded gently, hoping to peel back layers. Clara took a deep breath, her expression shifting to one of nostalgia. "I grew up in a family that didn't understand music. My parents thought it was a hobby, not a career. But every time I sang, I felt alive. When I hit a rough patch, I almost gave up. But then I found an open mic night in a little bar like what Lucas described. I poured my heart out and people listened." Ethan leaned forward, captivated. "That must have felt incredible. Did it change everything for you?" "Kind of," Clara admitted, her eyes twinkling with warmth. "Pushed me to keep going. I found my voice. But there are still days when I second-guess myself. Every rejection feels like a dagger." Her honesty struck a chord in the room, connecting them deeper than words. Jenny felt the vulnerability wrap around them, the weight of unshared fears becoming a shared burden. "You know, sometimes," Lucas intervened, breaking the moment, "you have to transform that dagger into a melody. It's all part of the process." "Exactly," Clara replied, nodding fervently. "It's tough, but the connections you make can elevate you. Like here, in this cafe, you never know who you might inspire or be inspired by." As they exchanged stories, the conversation shifted. Hopes, struggles, and dreams flowed back and forth. Jenny noticed her father leaning in, synthesizing all this newfound energy. The previously closed-off man was now engaged, almost weaving himself into their narrative. "I spent years thinking I had to measure success a certain way," he admitted quietly, a hint of vulnerability in his voice. "Maybe it is about embracing the journey." Ethan's heart soared. Could this be the moment they completely broke through? Just as the atmosphere thickened with possibility, Clara glanced toward the cafe entrance again. "I guess I should probably play something to really make this music thing official, right?" She grinned, warmth radiating from her smile. The feeling in the cafe shifted, the very air crackling with potential. Everyone leaned in as Clara asked, "So, do you want to hear my latest?" But before she could make it to her feet, a distant, jarring sound broke through an alarm at the far end of the street, followed by the anxious murmur of the cafe patrons. Ethan's stomach tightened. What was happening outside? The potential of the moment suddenly felt fragile, as if everything they just built could slip away. Would Clara be able to perform? And what effect would this disruption have on their newly forming bond? The world outside might impact their hopes, but now would they rise up against it together? The alarm continued to wail, piercing through the cozy warmth of the cafe, ripping apart the fragile sense of connection they'd all felt a moment ago. Clara blinked, the brightness of her smile dimming just a touch. "What is that?" she asked, sounding somewhat alarmed. Lucas's eyes darted toward the door. "I don't know. Could be a fire alarm or maybe something more serious." He hesitated, glancing at Ethan and Jenny, gauging their reactions. Ethan felt his throat constrict. Was the cafe under threat? The excitement about hearing Clara's song unraveled like yarn lost in the wind, leaving behind a tang of uncertainty. The excited cafe patrons exchanged worried whispers, heads turning toward windows, faces twisted with apprehension. Maybe we should check it out, Jenny suggested, her voice steady in contrast to the growing anxiety in the room. She looked at Clara and then back at Lucas. We can't let this moment slip away. Can we? Clara nodded, her determination renewed. No, we can't. Let us see what's going on. As they made their way toward the entrance, the ringing alarm softened, and a deep pressure settled in Ethan's chest. The world outside felt strange, distorted. Could this simple cafe moment turn into something more? They pushed through the door, the brisk air prickling their skin. Outside, the street was alive with commotion. People were gathering around a fire truck parked a few blocks away, lights flashing in vibrant red and blue. What happened? Jenny asked a nearby man who was pacing nervously. A fire in the old bakery just down the street, he replied, fear lacing his voice. Everyone got out, but it looks bad. They're just being cautious, I guess. Ethan's heart sank. While it was a relief that everyone was safe, he couldn't shake the thought that the bakery's closure, like the fire alarm, threatened the spirit of their community. It made him think about Clara and her music, how fragile and fleeting everything could be. Clara squeezed Ethan's arm, her eyes bright despite the situation. Let us do this, she proclaimed, showing a spark of bravery. I'm not letting this alarm steal my music. With that, she stepped onto the small step outside the cafe, glancing back at her small audience with determination. If you guys really want to hear a song, you'll hear it now. Ethan couldn't help but grin, his somber thoughts melting slightly. He watched as she took a deep breath, the spirit of her passion igniting the air around them once again. As she began to strum her guitar, notes floating freely into the night, the people around them began to gather. They stepped away from their worries, drawn toward the raw emotion in Clara's voice. The ice between Ethan and his family felt like it was thawing. He exchanged glances with Lucas and Jenny, who seemed to share the same realization. Moments like these were essential. They could find light amidst the chaos and support each other through uncertain times. As Clara continued to sing, a feeling of hope welled inside Ethan. He realized that the connection they were fostering wasn't just about music or dreams. It was also about family and community, a shared journey of resilience. But the moment was still delicate, precarious. Ethan sensed the weight of the alarm fading, but he couldn't shake the feeling that something larger was at play. Just as she hit a powerful note, capturing the gathering crowd, the fire truck's sirens blared to life, signaling a bigger urgency. Instinctively, Ethan's heart raced again, a mix of emotion rising within him. What if that urgency brought more challenges, or an unexpected turn? Would they all hold on to what they were building when faced with the unknown? In that moment, the lines between fear and hope blurred, leaving Ethan questioning what steps they'd take next together. Clara's voice echoed through the night, a mix of power and fragility that pulled at the heartstrings of everyone gathered around her. Each strum of her guitar wove a tapestry of sound that connected them, even amidst the uncertainty of the fire truck sirens. For a moment, time suspended, as though the world was holding its breath. Ethan could feel the warmth of connection radiating from the crowd, their faces illuminated by the flickering lights of the fire truck. He turned to Lucas and Jenny, surprised to see them smiling, their fears momentarily overshadowed by the hope Clara was building. Jenny leaned closer, her voice a soft whisper. It's incredible how music can do this. It makes everything feel lighter, doesn't it? Ethan nodded, his heart beginning to lift. He felt a swell of pride watching Clara. Her passion made the chaos around them feel manageable. Yet, he couldn't dismiss the thought that something was brewing just beneath the surface. It felt like they were teetering on the edge of an unpredictable wave. Clara hit another soaring note, and the crowd clapped in appreciation, momentarily forgetting why they had gathered outside in the first place. But distant shouts from the scene near the bakery snapped Ethan's focus back to reality. He turned, worry seeping in. The urgency in those voices seemed sharper, more urgent. Suddenly, an older woman from the crowd stepped forward, her face etched with concern. "They're saying the fire is spreading," she exclaimed, her voice rising over the music. "We should be careful." The air grew thick with anxiety, and it felt as though the spell Clara had cast was cracking. Ethan's mind raced. Who would be affected by this fire? The bakery, yes, but what about the families in the nearby apartments? What if someone needed help? The sound of Clara's guitar wavered as she noticed the shift in the crowd's energy. She hesitated, her confidence rattled. I can keep going," she declared, but there was an edge of uncertainty in her tone now. "You should stop," Lucas urged gently, moving to her side. "Maybe we need to regroup. Check on people." "No," Clara insisted, her eyes blazing with defiance. "I won't let fear win. Not today." She lifted her chin and faced the crowd, challenging them to feel what she felt. Ethan admired her tenacity, but doubt gnawed at him. "Clara, we need to consider everyone else." His voice was barely above a murmur, but she was already moving back toward the center. Without another word, Clara resumed playing, a new intensity in her music, a storm brewing within her notes. That energy sparked something in Ethan, igniting a sense of urgency. They weren't just bystanders in this unfolding chaos. They were part of a community that needed to stand together. He grabbed Lucas's arm. "We can't just stand here. Let us help find out how serious this is." "If anyone else at risk," Jenny joined them, her expression resolute. "I'll follow you guys. We can ask what we can do." Clara's music can hold them for a bit longer. As they started toward the scene near the fire, the notes from Clara's guitar faded into the background, replaced by the rising chaos around them. But her spirit lingered, a reminder that even amidst uncertainty, strength could be drawn from community and connection. Stepping into the unknown, Ethan felt a familiar clench in his chest. What lay ahead? Would they be able to support their community and one another? Facing the sounds of increasing panic and urgency, questions flooded his mind. But one thing was certain: whatever lay ahead, they would confront it together, unwilling to let uncertainty extinguish the light they had just begun to kindle. Little did they know, the fire wasn't the only challenge they faced that night. Ethan, Lucas, and Jenny dashed through the gathering crowd, hearts pounding in sync with the urgency surrounding them. The bright lights from the fire truck bathed their faces in a frantic glow, highlighting the resolve in their eyes. Closer to the bakery, the thin wail of sirens grew louder, echoing through the air, a constant reminder of the danger that lurked. "Over there," Lucas shouted, pointing toward a cluster of people huddled together. The fear on their faces froze Ethan for a moment. His next breath felt like a stone in his throat. He couldn't shake the thought that behind each worried glance might be someone who lived above the bakery, a family. A child. Jenny squeezed Ethan's hand, grounding him. "Let us go see if they need help," she urged, her voice steady despite the turmoil around them. The three pushed forward, where the crowd had parted to reveal a woman, her hands trembling as she clutched a child tightly against her chest. "Is everyone all right?" Ethan managed to ask, trying to keep his voice calm. The mass of people stirred nervously, whispers of worry cascading around him. We were just at the bakery. I called my husband to help me out when the smoke started pouring out." The woman stammered. Her eyes widened, and tears glimmered like glass. "I can't reach him. What if he is still inside?" Her desperation sent a jolt of panic running through Ethan. "Let us see if we can find someone who knows what is happening," he said, glancing at Lucas and Jenny. "Stay with her." As Ethan turned, he spotted a firefighter rushing toward them, helmet in place and gear glistening under the lights. "Anyone know if there is still a person in there?" he bellowed, the authority in his voice piercing through the growing murmurs. "Her husband." Ethan pointed to the woman, whose distress painted a vivid picture of fear amidst the turmoil. The firefighter nodded, and as he started toward the bakery, Ethan felt an urge to follow. But Lucas's voice broke through. "Ethan, we need to think this through. Rushing in isn't safe." Ethan hesitated, glancing back at Jenny, her expression a mixture of fear and determination. "What if he needs rescuing?" Ethan countered, his heart racing. Just then, Another shout echoed from near the bakery. Get back! The fire's spreading faster. The crowd surged backward, panic painting their movements. The warmth of the fire glowed ominously, turning the night sky to orange. As flames flickered, casting dancing shadows, Ethan's instincts kicked in. Clara! He shouted, suddenly aware that her song had stopped. Reality crashed in once more, heavy and suffocating. The weight of the situation pressed down hard. But unlike earlier, when her music had felt like a shield, now it seemed absent. Where was that spark of hope? Ethan scanned the crowd, anxiety clawing at him. Lucas pushed through. What's the plan, Ethan? We can't just stand here. I don't know, Ethan admitted, his heart aching. We should help others. But the fire truck's sirens shrieked in the distance, drowning out his thoughts. Suddenly, deep in the crowd, Clara appeared, guitar in hand and eyes fierce. A thrumming sense of energy radiated from her, a lighthouse amidst the swirling storm. Everyone, Clara called, voice firm and clear. Follow me. As she led a group beyond the barricades and into the chaos, Ethan's heart swelled with admiration and dread. He felt the weight of uncertainty once more, but he couldn't let Clara take this on alone. He had to catch up. Let us go, he urged, and together with Lucas and Jenny, they pushed through the throng. What awaited them ahead was a swirling mix of fear and hope. But one truth echoed in his mind: some battles had to be fought. Even when the fire was spreading, but as they navigated toward the front lines, Ethan had a chilling realization: perhaps the flames weren't the only enemy they faced tonight. What else could be waiting in the shadows? Ethan, Jenny, and Lucas pushed through the crowds, the chaos swirling around them like a tempest. Clara's fierce determination radiated strength. They followed her, hearts pounding in unison, eager to see what lay ahead. As they neared the bakery, the smell of smoke thickened the air. Shouts echoed, and the heat surged towards them, a reminder of the urgency they couldn't ignore. Ethan's breath caught as he glimpsed the fire flickering ominously, flames licking at the windows with an insatiable hunger. Beside him, Jenny clutched Ethan's arm, her eyes both wide with fear and fierce with resolve. We have to check on the people nearby. They could need help, Jenny urged, her voice cutting through the noise. Ethan nodded, knowing she was right. They couldn't just stand back. The sight of that woman clutching her child seeped into his mind, and fear twisted in his gut. But deep down he felt the weight of a decision. Was it time for courage? They reached the perimeter where the firefighters were blocking access. A few brave souls, emboldened by Clara's earlier song, huddled nearby, whispering encouragement among themselves. Ethan could feel the energy shift. Clara stepped closer, her voice cutting through the noise again. Let us raise our voices. All together, we can help bring strength to this moment. Ethan felt the thrill of her optimism. He grabbed Lucas and Jenny, and together they joined the gathering crowd. We won't be silent, Clara declared, and they chanted together, raising their voices in unison. The echoes blended into a powerful harmony, filling the air with determination, igniting a spark among the onlookers. Then the world shifted. The back door of the bakery burst open, and a man stumbled through, coughing and disoriented. The crowd gasped, stepping forward. Is anyone else inside? Someone shouted. The firefighter from earlier took charge. Get him some water, he barked, and someone rushed forward. Ethan felt a rush of hope. This man was alive. The energy surged through him as a round of applause broke out from the crowd. Yes, he made it. Jenny's voice rang out, filled with relief. But then, the tension flared again. The fire roared louder, breaking the applause with its thunderous presence. Get back, the firefighter bellowed, signaling for everyone to retreat slightly. The flames danced closer to the edge, threatening to spill out into the street as Clara strummed her guitar, weaving melodies into the night. The crowd felt a bond growing stronger, united by these shared moments. Then, right as Ethan thought last night's darkness would shatter this light, a shout cut through. There's still someone inside. They can't get out. Panic surged. The energy shifted again, sharp and aggressive. Clara's music faltered momentarily, People began to scream, some ran. Others stood frozen with confusion. "We need help in there," a voice cried, desperation laced in panic. That S when Ethan's heart seized in fear. "We have to do something," he urged, shaking off the surrounding dread. "We can't let fear win. Not when there's a chance to help." Jenny looked at Ethan, her eyes fierce. "But how? It's too dangerous." "We're all in this together," Lucas replied, courage gathering in his voice. "There are still lives we can save. We can report back. Keep others safe." Ethan took a deep breath, quickly surveying the scene. "We need more hands. We need a plan." Clara nodded, her guitar slung over her shoulder. "I can rally the crowd again. We need to create a path." The shock in her expression lightened, determination sweeping across her face. Once more, the energy shifted as Clara began to sing, her voice overcoming the chaos. She called out to everyone, urging them to organize. "We can't just witness, we must act. Create a human chain, help those in danger." People stepped forward, inspired once again. As Clara's infectious spirit resonated through them, Ethan felt hope rekindling. This wasn't just about saving one person anymore. It was a testament of community. Together, they worked in harmony. They linked arms, creating a chain moving steadily toward the bakery. Just as the firefighters organized their response, they saw the flicker of hope they all desperately needed. "Stay strong. We're here," Ethan shouted, voice solidifying amidst the chaos. Their shared commitment glimmered brighter than the flames. Courage ignited in every heart around them. With the bakery blazing behind them, they worked in tandem, passing water, shouting instructions, and urging one another forward. The sound of their voices merged with Clara's song, a melody of community wrapped tightly around them. Together, they became a living embodiment of resilience, echoing the beauty of unity in shared struggles. In that moment, as hope collided with danger, they transformed chaos into connection. Each note inspired someone to join, and soon the music grew louder, pouring from Clara's heart and into the hearts of all those around them, an anthem of courage and transformation. The fire raged on, but so did they, their combined spirit stronger than the flames. They were not just bystanders in a crisis. They were family, friends, and community awakened to the power within. And just when they thought they might crumble, they found within the ashes of uncertainty a chance to rise. This was not an end, it was merely the beginning of a brighter, redeemed legacy. As the fire truck sirens faded into the distance and the night filled with music, Ethan glanced around at the diverse faces, reflective of his own family's journey. They had made it through the darkest night together, embracing their past while nurturing a promising future. Hope had a way of blooming amid despair, and tonight, they would share that in as many hearts as possible. And as they finished, he knew this would be the first of many steps toward carving out a new path for their lives. Do not wait another moment. Get your friends involved in this incredible journey. You need to subscribe now to not miss out on the next exclusive stories that will inspire and uplift you. Leave a like right now to help spread this powerful message. Your support truly means everything to us. You have to comment below with your emotions about this ending. What does hope mean to you? How have you seen it transform lives? And share this video with at least 5 friends who need to feel this surge of inspiration. Don't wait not even one more second to spread the message of resilience and community.